Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And
Yes, we
today we're here with Coach Caren Fern, all the way from Toronto,
are.
Canada. She's in the
Yeah.
which is probably a lot warmer than the Sierras of California. Okay.
Yeah, no, we've got sunshine, but it's pretty cold out there.
Yeah, we are having tons of snow. I mean,
Yes.
feet of snow. Yeah. So I'm sure it's probably a little warmer where you are. Oh my goodness. So what do you have on the plate for us today, Coach?
Today we're talking about 5 of my 13 money principles.
Okay.
And we're talking today, we're talking about it because we're getting into the money stuff this month, right? All month we'll be talking about money and sales cycles and all those wonderful things that bring in money and bring in profits. Like we're talking about all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those, not hard, but it could feel like a hard topic to touch on. It's hard to keep thinking about it because people are afraid of the love of money. They're afraid of wanting too much of it, which is not true. Usually when you're broke and have no money, that's when you need it. And you think about it all the time, even when you don't want to think about it. You got a bill coming up, you got debt to pay, you're going to think about money. So money is used for what it's used for. And so we just have to get into the mindset of understanding that's what it is. And so we all need money. We all need it to survive. There's people who do bartering, but usually one party always lose out. And it didn't matter which side, somebody always loses because no business is equal. So because of that, it's always this thing that happened. I myself had barter years ago for my business, and I was not happy. I came out of it. I let the person know I was giving my all. And I don't think that they intentionally didn't want to do the same. It's just that what they had on their plate wasn't as, let's say, fast paced as mine was. So they were benefiting and it just wasn't a good fit. And she agreed and we stayed business buds at the time, but she totally understood. And you want people like that too, right? So I say, if you got nothing and you want to barter, instead of that, you write an invoice for her product or his product and let him do the same. If it equal out each other, that's fine. But be mindful of that. I mean, sometimes you might have to charge a little bit more and sometimes the other way around. But that way, you're getting really paid for the value that you bring to the table, the value that you bring to the marketplace. All right?
Okay. I never really got the gist of bartering.
Yeah.
It's like, depending on what they're offering. Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard. I think I did it with a hairdresser once because at the time I was in college. Yeah, I was in college when I did. But and I wanted to get my hair done, and time-wise, I just, needed to go sit in her chair. But then I realized that it wasn't working out, so we have to let that go. What is pinging? All right, let me see with my phone. I apologize. It is, so I am going to.
I just put mine on Do Not Disturb. Sometimes we forget.
Because I usually do, but I'm just gonna turn off the ringer because I gotta go to the hospital with my mom after. So, all right. So today we're talking about the principle, and I was supposed to share the screen, but I'm not going to because I got all my 13 there, and I couldn't pick up the one with just the 5. So I'm just gonna talk you guys through it.
All right.
Mostly what I do. So one of the ones that I really like to talk about the most, because I think number one is like the queen of it. Always keeping money in your purse, that $20 to $100. I mean, money like company, and they do like to follow each other. So when they know that they have somebody there, they want to come hang with each other. I like to tell people, think about this. When you were in school and you hang on your own, sometimes you want some space, but most time you're glad when you have a friend that come and visit, right? And when two people are hanging, it's like more joyous. There's more games to play. There's things to talk about. So that's what your money's doing. It's talking to each other. So when you got $20, it start calling and looking for other friends to come join you. If you got 100, he wants to be boosted. He doesn't want to stay lonely. So that's why always having some kind of money in your purse is really important. Now, I know these days everybody has money in the bank and it's a lot of don't touch money situation, but I promise you, if you're in a space where money is really hiding from you, you want to see it. You want to know it's there. You don't want it into thin air. This is not a time for that. Later on, when you build up the wealth and the money's there, then you don't have to see it as much. But if you're the person that is tactile and need to see it, then don't shy away from it, regardless of what the world is doing. Pay attention to your money.
Well, Coach, I noticed that when you recommended this to us, and I actually did it, it did attract more money. I don't know how that was, but I was able to keep money on me all the time. So it does work, guys. I just want to say
you guys heard the confirmation, okay? You guys heard the confirmation.
It does work.
And so the explanation for that, I tell people, I said, but I go in and I say, this is totally the purpose of having your mind understand the law of keeping. You see, if money has always escaped your hands, then you have not learned the law where money is concerned. Therefore, keeping it in your purse or wallet allows you to practice this small but important step of money management. And money management is such an important thing that sometimes we want to skip over. We don't want to. We might say we're not good. I meet people who would say to me, I'm not good with money. But you just haven't learned how to be good with money. That's what I want to say. You just haven't learned how to be good with it. And so it has been your ruler for so long that when you decide to take over, it's hard. Think about it. If you have a kid and forever you're telling the kid what to do, but you haven't figured out rules and how to get the kid to listen, it's the same with money. You haven't done that. Or you have a job and you want to get across to your boss certain things, but you're not able to because maybe you're angry with the boss or you're thinking he or she should know. If you go into it differently and thinking, well, they might not know, but here is my position. And maybe you have to come down a notch or two. Then all of a sudden you in this leadership position, even though they are the boss. And so you have to really think about that. You have to think about it that way.
I love the analogy of the children. That is just so profound. I never thought about it as like treating money like an unruly child. Okay.
Yeah, because if the child is not listening, you got things you can take away, you got things you can do, and you do the same thing with money. I'm going to give a for instance here, like you like shopping, and nothing's wrong with you enjoying the fruits of your labor. But it's disobedient because you had said to the money, here, I got $100 and I'm not buying a pair of shoes. And the best shoes came on the market and you love the shoes to pieces. And you're like, well, if I buy the shoes next week, I'm going to get paid. I'll put back the $100. You're not going to put it back because something's going to come in the way. Money, undisciplined behaviors with money will forge you and force things in your sight because you're not disciplined. And that's with any kind of discipline, right? So time after time, you'll be spending this $100. But I promise you, this I can guarantee you, if you would hold off on that shoes for $100 and you had said, I have 2 pairs of shoes, let's say all you have is 2, maybe even 1. And you say to yourself, I'm not buying this pair of shoes. I love it. I'm going to enjoy it. I shop it, but I will not buy it. I promise you. It feels like magic. It's not magic. It's just because you have resisted, you have allowed that to pass. Now, your job is to keep building on that. So if you had a schedule that you're going to put $40 in your purse every week. Matter of fact, I went down so low as to tell somebody, put $5 every week in your purse, and that'll bring you up to $20. And it's not a lot of money, but it's the habit. So the next month you do the same thing. Now it's $40 in your purse because the first goal might have been you want to get $100 in your purse, and so you're working towards this $100. So your goal is that. And so the distraction is going to come. I want you to know, I understand it's going to come, but you're going to have to figure out ways to get out of the distraction. And it really doesn't matter what the distraction is. The distraction could be your kid has something that's happening at the school. Your distraction could be that you need to buy the specific thing. But I promise you, if you sit down with your child and think about what it is you can use instead of going to the Dollar Tree somewhere, you will surprise yourself with what you would come up with. You would really surprise yourself.
Well,
Always and always. You just have
well,
to give
Mark
yourself
has a
time.
comment here.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Good morning, Mark. It says, money goes where it's loved and respected. If you want more, care for it. Acknowledge and be grateful for its arrival, and be conscious and always appreciative of the flow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That sounds like what you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Yeah.
want your children to behave,
Yeah.
sometimes you just need to love on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Because kids are looking for discipline. They want you to talk to them. I'm not going to sit here and say I never spanked my kids. I did. Well, when I learned that I didn't need to spank them to get them to listen, it was the easiest thing on my heart and my
Mhm.
energy, you know.
Yes.
It was easy to say, okay, so if we don't do this, we're not going to be doing this, this, and that.
Mm-hmm.
And at the moment, they might not care, but within 24 hours, they would care.
Yes.
Because they see what would happen, and we'd have a chat about it. Now, don't go talking to your children when they're irate and you're upset, because it's not going to solve the problem. And so
Mm-hmm.
the same thing goes to money. Don't be upset with your money and vex that you have no money left and what have you, because no more is going to come, because you're just in that state of anger and frustration. You got to get yourself calm and be able to just have these conversations to move on. Just facts. You have to.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, so
Mhm.
let's talk about number two. I talk about allocating 10% for savings, 10% for giving, and 10% for investing. Now, I know this is moving you on to the other place, but because you've understand habit, when I say 10%, especially if somebody makes a good earning and they got a whole ton of bills that they pay out all the money they make, they are like 10% of $1,000, 10% of $10,000. Karen, what's wrong with you? No. If you start at 10% of small monies,
Mhm.
by the time you get to the big monies, 10% is going to be such a habit in you that you're going to be able to do it. Okay?
Gotcha.
You're going to be able to do it. The second
Mhm.
step of our principle is to have you think ahead about your personal lives and businesses for now and in the future. Saving is a must when we are planning.
Mhm.
Giving freely. Get your heart just happy to give, and give what you can at the moment. Sometimes you can't do the whole 10%, but you can do 10% by 5% here and 5% there. So you're splitting it up. I want you to not see this as a punishment, but see this as something that is going to help you to understand in the future. I
Mhm.
always remember, lots of stories, I come with, but this specific story, when my friend and I graduated from college, a year later, no, not even quite a year later, I don't know, 8 months later, we were in one of our dream jobs. And we couldn't believe the salary we were going to get. We were all excited in our 20s. Let me just tell
Yes.
you. And I remember, at the point she's like, Karen, I want to buy a house. I'm not sure what I do my RSP, because you guys got 401k in Canada's RSP. We're thinking about all the things we're going to do to get us off going. And I said to her, what if we could save half of what we're earning, because we had jobs that pay little to nothing.
Mhm.
And she
Mhm.
was like, I can't do that. And we're like, for the first 3 months, I'm not going to lie to you, I don't know what crap I bought, what she bought. We had a ball. And
Mhm.
I said to her, I am doing it. And I'm like, you want to do it? And she's like, okay, let's ask a few people. And a few people was like humming and hawing. But her and I put pen to paper, and we give ourselves 30 days to figure out how this is possible. Because she
Mm.
wanted to save for her house down payment. And I was thinking the same thing at the time. She lived with her parents. I live in an apartment. I had more responsibility. I had two kids and a husband and student loan. And it feels, when I tell you these things, because I want you to know, it felt so impossible even though the salary was good, because now I could breathe a little bit more. And why
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't I want to? And why would I stifle myself? And I remember talking about it with my husband. He's like, that is crazy. We can't do that. And I said to myself, this is the where there's no we here. This is what I am doing. I was so adamant. And I got to tell you guys, we did it. She was able to put down on her house. We lived off of 50% of our salary. We started
Mm-hmm.
pretending the 50% doesn't exist. It was not easy, but it was, for a full year we did that. For a full year we did it first. So it all the things we talk about here is doable. It's the discipline to get there, and then the focus to stay there,
Okay.
and consistency when you argue with yourself that
Mm.
all we had allowed ourselves $10 a week for whatever we wanted. That was
Mm-hmm.
what we gifted to ourselves. So we got $40 every month, and we showed it to each other in the envelope. And so we can buy coffee, we can buy donut, we can go to the dollar store, we can do what the heck we want. But when the $10 are up, if we spent it all on Monday,
Uh-huh.
too bad. There was no money left. Right? We really did anything.
Okay. Well, Mark says, I've always subscribed to tithing, not simply to a church necessarily, but to that which is feeding you spiritually. It could be an individual, an author, a church, giving to that which you want to receive more of, different than charity.
It is
Yes.
different. It is different.
Mm-hmm.
It is different. Yeah. So that was, and if you're doing that 10-10, then you got 70% left
Mm-hmm.
for you, if that's what
Mm-hmm.
you're choosing to do. But it just forces you to come back to what I'm going to talk about right after that. It just forces you to see that you can really do with what you have and make it work, because the
Okay.
brain go to work on what's next, what you can accomplish. Your brain is not only wanting you to sit on the couch anymore, it will remind you that you promised to do X, Y, and Z. It
Uh-huh.
will have you working on what you can work on. It will show you that there's different avenues. And you start
Mm.
experimenting. Well, for me, I'm a creative, so I'm experimenting in all sort of things. And you either experiment on that, or some people do a second job. I really don't like the second job situation. For people, I will always tell them, don't take a second job. I want you to spend the time resting and understanding what is your next move. A second job just clouds you, confuses you, and make you think you're on this gallop of the hustling train. You're always
Mhm.
running to catch the train, because some part of you, and I'm telling you this because I've worked 3 jobs and went to school at the same time. It was a crazy gallop. It was a crazy gallop.
Especially with children. I can remember going to graduate school, teaching part time, substitute teaching with 2 children under the age of 4, running a ministry. It was just, it was not a good experience, especially when I turned up at the wrong school because, you had 2 days here and a day over
Yeah.
here and going to school at night.
Yes.
And it's just like, I feel you.
I don't even know how I pass exams. I don't even know when I studied. It was just crazy.
Yes, indeed.
I was taking accounting once, and I sent my accounting assignment to my English teacher. And
Yep. That's what I mean by showing up at the wrong place. It's like, what? I'm not here today. I'm across town. What?
and he's like, Caren, I teach accounting. Why am I marking S's?
Yes,
Oh
indeed.
my gosh. Yeah. So, same thing goes somebody what we're talking about. Yeah. Yeah. Let me tell you. So we want to pay attention. So we don't want to get distracted and go everywhere. And it feels like it. And people will boast and tell you that's what they do. So it's no problem. But I know it breaks down the mind, it breaks down the body. And even though you might be making money, you're not making as much as you think you're making. That's the other thing. You're not making as much as you think you're making. You
Is
just,
it costing you to make that money?
yeah. Is it ever? It is costing you to make that money.
Mhm.
And which leads me into when I talk about do not rely on the money you have today. If you're doing all these practices, if you're getting yourself involved in looking towards the future, you've been doing the saving and investing, and excuse me, I know there's not returning the money right away,
Mhm.
and you're giving and you're just doing some other things, you will see that your life will really just round itself out, right?
Mhm.
Let's
Mhm.
say you were volunteering and that was the only way you can give at the moment, then you're giving of your time and you're meeting new people and you're talking to them, and opportunities can appear right there in that voluntary movement that you're doing, and that hustle that you're running to do, maybe you don't need to do it anymore because you're there and somebody sees value in you, and expressing. I had a friend that had a son. I had a friend that had a son, and he used to volunteer. He had two jobs, and I remember telling him, I said, "You can't. You got to stop one of those jobs, right?
Mhm.
Because he had bad asthma. He was um, not diabetes, but somewhere in between there. And he was just blowing up in size. And I say to him, you got to take time and look after yourself. And if you don't, these jobs going to be no more. You're going to be no more, but the job's going to be right here." And he says, I
Mhm.
was thinking about it, Karen, but, and then he had to, in the process, he had two kids. And I said, and his wife went back to work, and he says, I'm going to start volunteering at the kids' school. And I say to him, perfect, perfect. Go there and drop the second job. And by
Mhm.
this time, he had a business, and the friend and him that owned the business had robbed him but a bunch of money. So he was really in a bad spot. And I say to him, as hard as it seems, and those two income disappear, go do something that really warms your heart and make you feel good. He said, I really love going to the kids' game and helping out. I'm like, good. Tell them you want to be a coach. Tell them you want to help out there and get in the classroom, get to the libraries. I said, because those are the things I did with my children. And I felt it was so good giving back that way. That man went on to not only spend roughly about 2 years volunteering. And in that time, the teachers get to know him, the principal, everybody loved him. And they said to him, you're such a gentle soul. You should be a teacher. And he said, I always wanted to be a teacher, but I never thought I was bright enough to go to university. And the principal said to him, she says, let me tell you what we're going to do. You're going to go to school, and we're going to write a letter of recommendation to the university. You're going
Wow.
to take your courses part time. You're going to volunteer here. And I promise you, when you graduate, you're going to get a job here. My skin
Wow.
broke when I talk about this story. That man got his teaching degree, got his job, and get to do the thing he always wanted to do because he took a step back. He allowed his body to do what it needed to do so that he
Mhm.
could be there for his children and his wife, and understood that over time. And I know we had to talk a lot about money. It was uncomfortable because it's my friend's son to have these discussions with this young man, but he told me he appreciated it and he wanted to have the conversation. So we did several times. Um, and I say initially I didn't want to, but
Mhm.
he said it was such a blessing. But that's because he took the step back and he took the information in and he used it
There
to
you
his
go.
advantage, and quit all those jobs around that really he didn't even like any of them. He was doing them because he thought this is all he could have done, because he wasn't bright, because he didn't do well in school.
Mhm.
Well, we found out his eyesight that made him not do well in school because he didn't see properly, got fixed. It's the asthma that had him staying away from school, that he would miss classes.
Mm.
And I'm not going to
Mhm.
get into his mom and stuff, but stories
Yeah.
happen. Life happened to
Life
people.
happens.
And
Yes.
so you might not even realize how great you are in whatever it is you want to do. And if you allow yourself the time and be around the right people to encourage you, how it just changes you.
How it shifts. Yes.
There's
Yes, it
just a
does.
shift that happens, right?
Well, you have a comment from Mark. He says, for me, so much of this always comes down to a deeply rooted question. Why are you doing what you're doing? Because our feet are moving, it doesn't mean that we are actually going anywhere. I love that.
Right?
And there is a direct correlation between this and your money
Mm-hmm.
So much of answering it or not answering it is based on unconscious financial fears.
Yes.
So true. We do a lot of things, a lot of vocations. We take a lot of jobs. Let me put it
Yeah.
this way. We take a lot of jobs
Yes.
because we're scared that
Yes.
we're not going to have enough, that there's going to be scarcity, that somebody's going
Yes.
to have to go without something.
Yes.
And so we rush off and get these jobs
Yes.
that are costing us money to even get to the job. By the
Yes.
time we finish figuring out how much we're really making.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I had left good paying jobs when I first came to this country and take less paying job because it's closer to where I live.
Which
And
makes sense because of the cost of the commute.
yes, and time, like, and I mean, I'm not gonna give myself credit for this one. This one is a bus driver. Just we used to talk, and he says, "Karen, where are you going?" Well, I met him. We start talking, and I told him where I was going. He said, "How far is that? How long does it take you?" I said, "I don't know." And I started looking at the time on my watch. It took me, Terry, 2.5 hours to get to work.
To get to work. So really, you're spending 5 hours a day
Yes,
commuting.
yes, yes. And he said to me, he said, "You can't do that. You have to work only the maximum half an hour away from work." I said, "Well, how am I going to do that? There's no way I can do that. Like, I'm new to this country and I got to work. Like, I got to
Mhm.
pay rent and stuff." And he says, "I'm going to do you a solid. I've got a friend that works half an hour from where I pick you up or less. I'm going to ask him if they're hiring." Just like that. And I had no reason to think I was going to get it. And I took the bus within 3 days, and he goes, "Here's the information, call them."
Mm. Okay.
Talking about settling down, you know. And we start talking. He says, "Think about what do you came to do?" I said, "I came to go to school. I want to go to college." And he says, "Okay, if you travel in 5 hours, when are you going to study? How are you going to get to college? This is crazy."
When are you gonna get to class? You start at 3 in the morning.
Yes.
What Mark says, we get the job that we hate because of our fear. That's
Yes.
true.
Yes, Mark.
When in turn, which in turn validates our fears,
Mm-hmm.
right? And provides us with evidence to support stories of lack,
Yep.
limitation, and impossibility. We become a self fulfilling prophecy.
We do. We do. We do. And I hear my being saying, "I can do it. And I don't think this is possible." That's the time I tell people what same happened for me. I will stick my head into I can get it done.
Mm,
At this
mm,
moment, I might know how, but I'm going to spend time with me figuring out how. That's it. This part, Mark, is so important. This part, it is so hard to tell somebody or help somebody do it when they're not ready yet to do it.
mm, mm.
This I have learned because people will always say to me, "Karen, you don't understand how it is. You got money, so it's don't bother you. You don't know." I was like thinking to myself, I did not born into anything. No, nothing.
Mhm,
I
mhm.
work for what I got or what I don't have. Like, this is what happened. And I used to be arguing this point, and then I just stopped arguing the point because it's truly me being uncomfortable. A friend said to me 2 days ago, she said, "This is a compliment, but Karen, you know how to prosper uncomfortably." I'm like, I don't like the idea, but it is true. Because when you're uncomfortable, you do better. Sorry.
Mm.
It's not like you mustn't be comfortable, but in such deep comfort that you don't do anything, that in itself is some kind of a sickness or disease, you know.
Mm. Okay, so Mark says we
Good
will
Lord.
never move beyond the limitations of the story that we are telling ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We must first be aware of the story that you're telling,
Right.
the fact that you are telling it, and that you are the author. Okay,
Boom.
and
Boom.
that's true.
Boom.
That's true.
And when you tell stories like Mark are talking about there, you tell it over and over
Hmm.
and over. It's just
Hmm.
this
Hmm.
craziness that's going wrong in your head. And
Hmm.
so I usually say, so why don't we go into the what if I do it differently? What if, just get into there and get it done. Get it done. I am not telling you it's simple. I'm not,
Mhm.
or it might seem simple to the person who's looking on, but it takes some time and discipline, consistency. And it never starts when somebody say I did this, this, and this, and now I'm a six figure. They lied. But okay. Because they might not want to get into detail in the timeline. That's all. And they're
Mhm.
saying to you, maybe I did waste all this time, but no, I catch myself and I'm picking up speed. But I'm back to, if you need to go and get some money and pull the money to you, and I will stick with that because I've seen it time and time again. I've made a lot of money. I went broke. I've wasted a lot of money. I make back more money. And through it
Mhm.
all, there's this sameness that happened. And I think for me, one of the big things, even when I was little, I always had seen myself rich and have a lot, even when times were hard, even when I had no proof of anything.
Well, they say if you can see it, you can have it.
Mhm, mhm.
Coach, we want to share some information. What do you have coming up?
So I've got two things right now. Brazil, is my business profitable? That's the thing, because I want to. This is where I go in and help. Other people businesses. I go in and see where you are, what you're doing, how you're doing it. Is your business profitable? And if not, how do we get it there? So you get a session with me and we sit and we talk about it. We work through all the things you're going to go away and actually do. And then I come back and see that you get it done and a timeline is set. This is for the people who are not ready for full coaching, but they really need to come in and get this up and going because they've been in this spot for so long and they're just stuck and not moving. So that's what that helps you do.
So is this the link for that?
Yes, this is the link for,
Is this
yes,
meeting, new meeting?
yes. This is the
Okay.
link for the
So
new
if they
meeting.
want to schedule a consultation,
Mhm.
they can go to that link.
Yes.
Okay. And then you have another link
Mhm.
here. Let me get over here to this one and put it up on the screen. And I believe that's it.
Yep.
Your course.
Yes. And my second link is a tiny course for $40. It talks about, it's a vision board of possibilities. It really have you think about all the things you want to do if you're now starting or want to refresh, but you just want to go do it yourself and just want to sit down and do this stuff and walk you through all the steps. We do it in picture form, words, and the whole 9 yards. It helps you do
Mhm.
a personal board and a business board so that there's something visual that you can look and see. Now you can do it online and just, or you can have it the physical product. Once you walk through the whole course, it'll walk you through there. And it could take you a week, it could take you a day, but the coreness of it helps you to go back on a regular basis to see where you are, where you're going.
Mhm.
When we have a job, we go in and our boss tell us what to do. And if you start a business with a partner, there's somebody who's there with you. But sometimes business gets lonely and you want to have a place where you go back to know what you're doing and know what you're looking into. I tell people, when your life is in havoc and you're running a business, it spills over into the business. So I believe you need to look after both things simultaneously. And so this
Mm.
is what this is about.
Okay. Well, Mark uh, says he
Mhm.
loves the lipstick. He says, "You look so lovely." He says,
Thank you.
he says, I'm here for it. Thanks, Coach Karen.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
stopping by, Mark.
He's always such a blessing.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, we really enjoy Mark. And he always has something positive to say.
Mhm.
With that, Coach, we just want to thank you for all that you do, how you do it, and how you simplify things. I think sometimes people don't think that it's valuable unless it's super super complicated and they can't even understand the language. I prefer something here at BizChicks. We don't like convoluted stuff. We want to know how to do it and how to do it in a way that's easy to understand and apply.
Mhm.
So we thank you for your contributions every day. And guys, if you have not booked an appointment with Coach Karen, be sure to take advantage of this opportunity to go ahead and have a consultation with her. In addition to that, where else are you going to find such a valuable course for $40 where you can map out a strategy. We want to thank you guys for tuning in. For those of you watching on the replay, for all of you in the clubhouse, we want to say hey and thank you for your time. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll be talking happy, healthy habits with Robin Shimizu and friends.
Yes.
And I do believe Lakeisha's going to be on there talking about lipstick. Yes. So with that, we want to remind you, hey, it's okay to make money in your business.
Yes.
Come on, guys. Go to the front of your own line. Have a great day.
Great day. Great day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. We'll see you soon.